Today we will hear member statements by the honourable members for the District of Harbour Main, Windsor Lake, St. John's Centre, Topsail Paradise, Placentia West Bellevue, and it's my understanding that the member for Burin Grand Bank has leave to is seeking leave to present a member statement as well. The Honourable Member for Harbour Main.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with great pleasure that I share with all honourable members how a church group in the District of Harbour Main transformed the lonely times of the pandemic into something quite extraordinary for seniors. The elderly in particular have been deeply impacted by COVID-19 and have felt the psychological toll of the quarantine and isolation. St. Peter's Anglican Church in Upper Gullies immediately recognized this vulnerability and were determined to find ways to get the seniors in their congregation connected, despite social distancing measures. They recognized the importance of educating their elderly on technology. So, with the guidance of a 17-year-old tech wizard, designed and created a program to help and assist seniors on how to use all the modern-day applications. The church group was delighted when they received a grant from Advanced Education Skills and Labor in support of this initiative. It is heartwarming to hear some of the finer moments of the pandemic when an 82-year-old lady, like a pro, turns on her iPad at her kitchen table every Sunday morning and tunes in on Facebook Live to attend the local church service. I ask all members of this House to join me in paying tribute to St. Peter's Anglican Church in Upper Gullies for their innovation and the loving concern they have shown for their elders. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The member for Windsor Lake. Yes. The Honourable Member for Windsor Lake.
I'm not aware of a statement.
We're good. Okay. The Honourable Member for St. John's Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mother Teresa said, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. Sometimes something as simple as picking up a piece of trash can be a tremendous act of respect for the environment and love for the world we all share. For over 25 years, Walter Harding, his wife Kimberly, and a dedicated corps of volunteers have waged a quiet war against litter in St. John's. Members of this enthusiastic team are Jill Bruce, Shirley Parsons, Anna Penny, Donna Imhoff, Ernie Walsh, and Rod Pomeroy. Walter has been organizing neighborhood cleanups, often at his own expense, throughout the metro region. So far this year, Walter and his team have collected 300 of their annual 1,000 bag goal. In pre-COVID times, Walter normally organized 20 to 40 volunteers for weekend cleanups throughout the spring. For now, it's just he and his wife. A pointless exercise? After all, it's not their litter. But to Walter and his team, it's their world and their problem to solve. It's a labor of love. I ask honourable members of this House to join me in recognizing the great work of Walter Harding and his team. And I challenge us to go one step further, commit to picking up one piece of trash a day, and let's all be a little more like Walter. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Topsail Paradise.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. From May 2nd to the 9th, Louise and Bernie Mercer of the beautiful district of Topsail Paradise held a food drive to honour their late children's birthday. Alex and Riley Mercer both shared the same birth date. And though years apart, both were lost to a rare form of brain cancer. Alex when she was in elementary school, and Riley as a teenager. Both parents wanted to do something special for their birthdays, and also wanted it to be a community event. And thus, 7 years ago, SOAR was born, the spirit of Alex and Riley. The food drive, headquartered every year at the Salvation Army Church in Long Pond, has been embraced by residents as a way to honor the Mercer's family's courage and grace and give back to the community by supporting the efforts of the food bank. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, the Mercers held a virtual birthday where they accepted monetary donations and raising $27,905 that went directly to the CBS Paradise Community Food Bank. The Mercers said that as long as there is a need in the community, They will continue this as a way of thanking the community and as a way for those who have helped them in their time of need. Mr. Speaker, I would like to thank the Mercers for what they do for their community and to say what a wonderful and beautiful tribute to Alex and Riley. Thank you.
The Honourable the Member for Windsor Lake.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I pay tribute to the McMorran Community Center, who stayed operational during this difficult time and continued to operate its food bank to provide the essentials for those in their community. In coordination with local restaurants, they ensured hot meals were provided throughout the neighborhood on a weekly basis. Staff connected with those in need on an ongoing basis to ensure their food and supplies were met during the pandemic. Staff put together comfort and activities kits for seniors and school children, which were delivered on an ongoing basis. Finally, staff worked with the schools to ensure that educational work was distributed to the children in the community. The McMorran Community Center stands out not only as a beacon of hope and compassion, but a prime example of the tireless work of dedicated staff and volunteers in my district and in our province to the most vulnerable in our society.
The Honourable the Member for Placentia West Bellevue.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Today, I speak of a remarkable young man from my district of Placentia West Bellevue, Blake Colbrand, a youth who beautifully represents the town of Marystown. Blake has strived for more personal hardship than should be allocated to any person, and has done so with a soaring attitude. Blake has most recently received the Horatio Algar Scholarship. This scholarship is awarded to full-time students in their final year of high school with financial challenges and who have demonstrated integrity and perseverance in overcoming adversity, a commitment to pursuit of a post-secondary education, and a desire to contribute to society, and a good academic record. Blake has most deservingly received $5,000 to assist with his academic studies. But Mr. Speaker, this is not all that Blake has received. Blake is also the recipient of the Joyce Family Foundation bursary, a bursary which is endowed upon students enrolled in full-time student studies of a recognized college or university in Canada, which are based on financial need and to increase the participation of disadvantaged or at-risk youth who face obstacles and barriers to a post-secondary education. Mr. Speaker, Blake has received a $20,000 bursary to assist in his studies. I would like this honorable House to show their appreciation and give praise to such an outstanding accomplishment of Mr. Blake Colbrand. He is a man that is definitely has a bright future ahead of him. Thank you.
The Honourable Member for Buren Grand Bank with leave.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It is with a heavy heart I speak today of a devastating loss, not only to the town of St. Lawrence, Mr. Speaker, but the province as a whole. On May 25th, the fishing vessel, the Sarah Ann, with crew members Eddie Joe, Scott and Jody Norman, and Isaac Kettle left port for the fishing grounds. Tragically, it would be their last trip, and 4 of St. Lawrence's fine citizens taken by the sea. While the bodies of Eddie Joe, Scott, and Jody were soon recovered, and despite long days of searching and heartache, it wasn't until June 6th that Isaac's body was recovered and brought back home. We are so thankful to those who searched and offered closure. Mr. Speaker, another chapter written in St. Lawrence's long history of tragedy as generations of Native sons and daughters have taken to the sea or gone underground to earn a living, too often with tragic results. Mr. Speaker, St. Lawrence is grieving, and the grieving of one is the grieving of all. As is their custom, the good people of St. Lawrence have come together to comfort and support the families. I ask all honorable members to keep the Norman and Kittle families in their thoughts and prayers, and pray also for those who go to sea in ships that do business in great waters. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.